Whenever I find myself overwhelmed, anxious, or just run down, one of the ways I find peace is to wander through nature. I slip on my shoes, fill my backpack with snacks and water, then head out for an hour or the day. There's something about breaking up the routine and connecting with nature that soothes my soul. It's my time, it's for me, and it's what I need. Now, whether it's nature or just in your own space, I strongly recommend you get lost so you can find yourself again. In a world that never stops moving, we forget to pause. We forget to step away. We forget that sometimes the only way to truly move forward is to first step back. You've been running, chasing your goals, meeting deadlines, answering messages, showing up for everyone but yourself. And somewhere in the chaos, you lost touch with you. There are days you feel it, don't you? That nagging sense that something's missing. That voice deep inside whispering, this isn't it. This isn't who I am. I need a moment to breathe. So take it. Give yourself permission to get lost. Not lost in distractions, not lost in the noise, but lost in a way that allows you to return to yourself. There is power in stepping away. Think about the last time you truly disconnected. No screens, no obligations, no expectations, just you and your thoughts and the world around you. At first, it's going to feel uncomfortable. When the noise fades, you're left with nothing but yourself. And for some people, that's terrifying. But if you sit with it long enough, clarity begins to rise. You begin to remember what matters. You begin to see what's been weighing you down. And you realize that half the things you were stressing over weren't even worth your energy. It's time to regroup, recenter, and return stronger. The people who change their lives are the ones who dare to step away long enough to reimagine what's possible. The best ideas, the boldest decisions, the deepest insights, they don't come when you're drowning in daily tasks. They come in the stillness. They come when you're out in nature, when you're traveling alone, when you're journaling at sunrise, or when you allow yourself to breathe without an agenda. And when you return different. You return clearer. You return ready. Sometimes the only way to find your path is to lose sight of everything else for a little while. Your reset is waiting. You don't need permission. You don't need an excuse. You don't need to justify why you're taking time for yourself. You just need to do it. Disappear for an hour, a day, or a week, whatever you choose. Book that solo trip. Turn off your phone. Drive with no destination. Let the world wonder where you've gone while you rediscover who you are. And when you come back, you won't be just rested. You'll be realigned. You may feel lost right now. That's okay. It just means it's time for this. I strongly recommend you get lost so you can find yourself again. Life is made up of chapters. Some are long and joyful, filled with achievements and laughter. Others are short and bitter, marked by loss, setbacks, and struggles. But no matter how the last chapter ended, here we are, at the start of a new one. What's written is done, the ink is dried, and there's no rewriting the past. But the beautiful part is what comes next is still blank. The future is unwritten, and you hold the pen. Think about the opportunity you have. Your story can change at any time. You're not defined by one chapter. You're not trapped in the plot that unfolded yesterday. The pain of your last chapter doesn't have to be carried into this one. The mistakes, the regrets, the doubts, those are part of your story, yes, but they're not the whole story. If you want to start fresh, you can. If you want to rewrite your character, you can. If you want to close the book on what was and step boldly into what could be, the choice is yours to make. There's nothing more powerful than the realization that you don't have to keep reading the same page over and over. Sometimes we get stuck in our stories. We replay failures. We cling to old identities. We tell ourselves, this is just who we are. But that's not true. You're not a fixed character. You're someone who can evolve, someone who could grow, someone who can surprise the world and yourself with what's next. Maybe you've been carrying a chapter that's been hard to close. Maybe it's a relationship, a career, a habit, or even a version of yourself that's no longer serving you. It's time to let it go. It's time to take a deep breath, close that chapter, and turn the page. Because here's the thing about life, it doesn't wait for you to be ready. Time will move forward, whether you cling to the old story or write a new one. So why not decide that this next chapter will be better? Why not decide to bring new energy, new hope, and new determination into the blank pages ahead? Why not believe that the best part of your story has yet to be written? Some chapters end not because we failed, but because we've grown. Life pushes us forward whether we like it or not, because it knows that we're capable of more. And while the unknown can feel scary, it's also where possibility lives. The next chapter could be the one where you rise after falling, the one where you discover your purpose, the one where you find love, rebuild your confidence, or chase the dream you've been afraid to admit. But this is going to start with you. It's going to start with the courage to say that the past does not own you, that you decide what happens next. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to know the ending. All you need is the willingness to write the next sentence, the next paragraph, the next page, one step, one day at a time. This is your story, not your parents, not your friends, not the critics who told you to settle, but yours. So close the chapter that no longer fits. Forgive yourself for what's been, and step into this new page with courage, knowing that the future is still yours to write. Because no matter how the last chapter ended, your story isn't over. It's just beginning. Procrastination. It's the silent thief of dreams. We've all felt its grip. You sit down to work on something important, and suddenly you're scrolling through your phone or binge watching your favorite show. Hours pass, and the task remains untouched. It's frustrating, demoralizing, and most importantly, it holds you back from achieving your goals. But the good news, you don't have to stay stuck. Procrastination isn't about laziness. It's a habit, and habits can be broken. Let's dive into how you reclaim your time, energy, and your potential. Number one, start before you feel ready. One of the biggest lies procrastination tells you is that I'll do it when I feel motivated. But motivation can often come after you take action. See, momentum breeds motivation. The hardest part is always getting started. Don't wait to feel ready, just begin. Give yourself permission to do it badly at first if you have to. Remember, progress is more powerful than perfection. Just taking the first step creates inspiration. Second is break down the big tasks into smaller steps. Often procrastination happens because the task feels overwhelming. If you think about everything you need to do at once, it's easy to freeze. Break these big projects into small, manageable steps. Set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes and commit to working for just that amount of time. The trick is, again, once you start, it's easier to keep going. One small step leads to another, and before you know it, you're making progress. Third is identify what's holding you back. Procrastination isn't always about laziness. It's often about discomfort or fear. Is it the fear of failure or the discomfort of breaking away from your routines? Ask yourself, what am I really avoiding and why? Once you recognize the problem, well, then face it head on. Tell yourself, it's okay if this isn't perfect. I just need to try. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action in spite of it. Number 4 is remove distractions and create a focused environment. The world is full of distractions, and they love to steal your focus. To beat procrastination, set yourself up for success. Put your phone on airplane mode or leave it in another room. Create a workspace where you feel productive and inspired. Every time you remove a distraction, you're making it easier to stay on track. Number 5 is reward yourself for progress, not just perfection. One reason we procrastinate is because we're so focused on the end goal that we forget to celebrate the journey. Winners reward themselves for progress, no matter how small. Set small milestones and treat yourself when you hit them. Enjoy the satisfaction of knowing that each step forward counts. Celebrating progress reinforces the habit of showing up and doing the work. And finally, be kind to yourself. If you've been procrastinating, it's easy to fall into a cycle of guilt and shame. But beating yourself up only makes it worse. Treat yourself with compassion. Like, I've procrastinated, but I'm working on it now. Understand that procrastination is something everyone struggles with. You're not alone. When you're kind to yourself, you make space for growth. See, procrastination will always offer excuses. Tomorrow will be easier. I'll start later. But we all know the perfect time doesn't exist. The time to act is now. Take one small step. Start even if you don't feel ready. Celebrate every bit of progress along the way. Because the longer you wait, the further you push your dreams out of reach. You're capable and you're ready. You have everything you need to succeed right now. Start today, start small, and don't stop until you reach your goal. The only way to beat procrastination is to take control one step at a time. Today's going to be a day to get back up and get back in the fight. I mean, we've all been there, that moment when life knocks you down so hard and it feels impossible to get back up. I mean, maybe you work tirelessly towards a goal, only to see it slip through your fingers. Maybe you put your heart into something, your career, a relationship, or a dream, and it didn't turn out the way you'd hoped. And I know it hurts. And in those moments, it's easy to feel defeated and to question everything. But what you need to remember is defeat is not the end. It's a part of the process. Every person who has achieved success, every person you admire, they've had their own version of failures. They've been knocked down, just like you. But the difference is they chose to get back up. They didn't let defeat define them. In fact, they used it as fuel to keep them going. When you're in the middle of a tough defeat, it can feel overwhelming. You might be asking yourself, why did this happen to me? Or what's the point of trying again? But the truth is, it's not about avoiding failure. It's about how you respond to it, how you choose to stand back up, to dust yourself off and keep moving forward. Really, think of a baby learning to walk. They don't get it right the first time. They'll fall over and over again. But as a baby, they don't see those falls as failures. They see them as part of learning. And with each fall, they get stronger, more determined. And eventually they figure it out because they didn't give up. Life's the same way. The setbacks you face today are not there to stop you. They're there to teach you, to make you stronger and more resilient. It's okay to feel disappointed. It's okay to take a moment to catch your breath. But don't stay down. Don't let that tough defeat be the final chapter of your story. Instead, let it be the chapter where you rise, where you prove to yourself just how strong you really are. Because you are stronger than you think. Every defeat, every failure, that's a step towards something greater. It's not a sign that you're not good enough. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to come back even better. It's imperative to remember that the road to success isn't a straight line. It's full of twists and turns and, yes, setbacks. But those setbacks are what make the victories so much sweeter. And no matter how tough it feels right now, you have the power to rise above it. So pick yourself up, dust yourself off. Remind yourself that this defeat does not define you. What defines you is your ability to keep going, no matter how many times life tries to knock you down. Because in the end, it's not the defeat that matters, it's what you do next. Sometimes we just need to reignite the fire within us. Today is a day to turn things around. Today isn't about reaching the finish line. It's about never quitting. It's not just a phrase, it's a mindset, a powerful force that can drive you to achieve greatness. Think about a time when you were on the brink of giving up. Maybe it was a task that seemed impossible, a dream that felt just out of reach, or a personal struggle that tested your limits. We've all been there, feeling overwhelmed and ready to throw in the towel. But here's the truth, that moment you felt like quitting is the exact moment you were on the edge of a breakthrough. Life throws obstacles at us, and it often feels like those obstacles are trying to break us. But what if those challenges are actually opportunities to discover our true strength? Every obstacle is a chance to prove that you're unstoppable, to show that no matter how tough it gets, you can push through and come out victorious. Imagine yourself as a warrior on a battlefield. Every challenge is a battle, and every time you overcome one, you grow stronger. When you face setbacks, don't see them as failures. See them as fuel for your fire. Each struggle is a chance to build your resilience, to sharpen your skills, and to get one step closer to your goal. Think of the fierce energy you feel when you're at your best. Tap into that. When the going gets tough, don't back down. Stand tall, dig in, and let your determination blaze like a beacon. You've got the power to turn every obstacle into an opportunity. Your potential is limitless, and it's up to you to unleash it. Success is not about never failing. It's about rising every time you fall. It's about having the courage to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. It's about pushing through the pain, the doubt, and the fear. When you refuse to quit, you're not just achieving your goals, you're proving to yourself and the world that you are unstoppable. When you face a challenge today or tomorrow or next week, remember this: you are a force to be reckoned with. Don't let anything stand in your way. Embrace the struggle, channel your inner warrior, and keep moving forward. Your dreams are worth every ounce of effort you put in. Let's make a pact today. We will not be defeated. We will not let obstacles break our spirit. We will rise, we will fight, and we will succeed. Each and every one of you has the power to make today, tomorrow, and every day a victory. Never quit. Keep pushing. Embrace the challenges, and let's conquer our goals with unstoppable energy. Let's make today extraordinary. When you're buying, understand that the cost isn't exactly the cost. Let me explain. We assume the price out the door is the cost, but there's more to it. So often we look at the upfront cost, or the quote-unquote price of acquisition as it's commonly known, as being the fee. We see it as the price tag, maybe add in some taxes or a warranty, and there you go, we've arrived at our cost. Well, not so fast. That TV you bought has a cost. Do you recall where you bought it? How much was it? You might answer a few $100s or more, because in your mind, you're thinking out-of-pocket expense. But there's always a cost that we don't see. We don't even think about it because our brains don't exactly look for it. So no wonder it doesn't come to mind. That TV may have been a few $100s, but what's the true cost? I'm referring to the hours that you'll be mindlessly watching that TV instead of allocating those hours to something much more productive. That TV is costing you time. Time that you could be using towards building a business, playing with your kids, exercising, or learning a new trade. If that TV is taking hours away from you starting a business, then I dare say it's actually costing you much more than the out-of-pocket expense. Watching TV a few hours a day adds up to thousands of hours a year, and then potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars of lost revenue in the business you didn't start. So think about the purchases you've made recently. Now that you've been made aware, what are they actually costing you? And costs just aren't on material items. This also applies to physical actions too. Let's look at exercising. You might see the costs as a monthly membership or the time and the physical exertion. But let's look at it another way. What's the cost of not exercising? How much is that going to cost you in the future? Not exercising potentially means more doctor's visits, a higher risk of sickness or ailments, maybe less energy to play with your kids now. We all know the benefits of exercising, but some see the cost as too high because they're looking at it wrong. I see the cost of not doing it as much higher, so I'll save by exercising now. The cost is not always the cost. There's two ways to look at it. First, what's the cost if I pay it? Or second, what's the cost if I don't pay it? Spend wisely, my friends. One of the toughest things we as humans have to do is we have to be able to accept delayed gratification. We have to be willing to put off instant results for future rewards. And that's not an easy thing to do. We've become so accustomed to speed. It's our internet, drive-thrus, Amazon deliveries. How dare we have to wait for things to arrive? And this conditioned expectation has made us impatient in almost all areas of our lives. We're impatient at work, with our coworkers, or with customers. We're impatient in the gym because we don't see the scale move fast enough, or our body isn't transforming into the muscles. We're impatient in relationships. Why doesn't my partner understand me or isn't adapting to my needs? Impatience is everywhere. We all know the line, "Good things come to those who wait." Patience is literally an ingredient to any recipe for success, but we forget this step. If you're familiar with the law of attraction or in manifestation, one of the most important steps is trusting that the universe will deliver. It doesn't say when it's going to deliver, just that it will. I need to believe and hold on to faith that, assuming I'm doing all the other steps, that my time will come. The universe is not Amazon with next day delivery. And in fact, there's even a chance that you may not receive. After all, there are no guarantees in life. However, I know that not believing and not following the steps will guarantee that it won't arrive. But man, is this lesson hard. Day in, day out, we push and we push. It'd be nice to cross that finish line, but some days it seems like that finish line is still nowhere in sight. In pursuing any goal, it's like climbing a mountain. From the base, we see the summit, and so we start the journey. But along the way, we have obstacles that force us to move left, then right, up, then down. We're taking steps, but it doesn't look like the summit is getting closer. Then over time, we get tired. All the work we've been putting in. Frustration starts to fill my being, and my mind starts to question whether the climb is even worth it. It'd be so much easier just to turn around, walk back, and let gravity help me return to comfort. The instant gratification isn't there, so I choose to quit. But in that moment, if I'd only take the time to look around, reflect, and see just how far I've come. I may not be at the summit, but man, I'm getting closer. And if I just keep stepping, just keep putting one foot in front of the other, I can and I will reach the peak. That's what's going on in your life right now. You've been working, you've been putting in the steps, but you're questioning whether you'll hit the summit. And I'm here to say, hold on to faith. Hold on to the belief that what you're seeking will arrive. Delays are not denials. They're just a test of your will and conviction. Reaching the summit won't be easy, but attaining the view will be worth it. How you identify is how you perceive yourself. No great athlete or high achiever attained their status without first seeing it and then believing it. On the grander scale, this is a big deal. So often we wait for proof or some kind of tangible results before we start to believe that we can be or achieve something great. The idea of identity lives within everyone. It affects the way we think and therefore how we act. In a social setting, if I identify as the most confident person in the room, how do you think I look? You'd probably say something like, head up, shoulders back, standing tall, all things related with the identity of the most confident person. My behaviors stem from my belief. Identity is powerful. If you identify as positive, you become positive. It's a great equation. But what about the opposite? What if you don't identify with the positive? Or what if your limiting beliefs are creating an identity that's actually holding you back? Let me give you a couple examples that you might relate to. These are little things that I've found myself using in the past or I've heard in others. But now I see the identity issues related with these beliefs. They're typically represented as I statements. For example, I'm not a morning person, or I can't remember first names, or I'm not strong in math. All these statements are limiting beliefs that create an identity that you then act out accordingly. Take the statement, I'm not a morning person. I use this example all the time with my clients that identify with this phrase. So let's say the alarm goes off. What does a non-morning person do? Well, because they identify as such, they'll probably hit the snooze alarm, maybe curse the fact that it's morning and other non-morning person behavior. Sound familiar? But what if instead of it just being the morning alarm, it's actually the fire alarm? Would that non-morning person behave in the same manner? No, they'd be up, alert, and probably moving towards the exits. The only difference in the two alarms is how we perceive the moment and how we identify our responses to be. You can be a morning person if it's the fire alarm, yet you cling to the identity of a non-morning person the rest of the time. Another example is the smoker that's trying to quit. What they often do is count the days since their last cigarette, something only smokers will do. I, having never smoked, do not count days because I identify as a non-smoker. There's no reason for me to count days because I won't indulge in a puff. So for the smoker to ultimately quit, they need to change their identity. They need to identify as a non-smoker. No more counting days because non-smokers don't count. What you want to become or how you want to behave is first determined by how you identify. Get the mindset right, and the rest will follow.